So there I was, in a car dealership, about to buy a car, and I see the paperwork, the salesman hands it to me, and I look at it and I literally see at what price the dealership bought the car at. And then an additional like 8 to 10% thrown in for security and preparation fees. And my first thought, I look at this guy is, fuck you, man. Why does this even exist? Why can't I just buy the car directly from the brand or the manufacturer? Why can't I just whip out my phone, tap a button, buy that hoe, no haggle, put it in my garage tonight? That's exactly what we're going to get into in this video. Let's start with the history of car dealerships. Back in the 1930s, car dealerships might have been a classic American dream business. They were more or less ma and pa shops, and the owners used to have to put a lot on the line for it just to stay running. It's not cheap to buy, store, and maintain a fleet of cars, so there was a real risk that a family putting all of their life savings into their store's dream, it would go bankrupt if the manufacturers started selling their own cars for lower prices and effectively putting families out of business. Or at least that was the argument that the lawyers of the dealerships used to keep manufacturers from selling cars. In the 30s, state franchise laws were put in place prohibiting manufacturers from selling their own cars. However, those state franchise laws weren't created to protect smaller dealerships. They were a political compromise after automakers tried to bypass dealers post-World War II. Dealers lobbied for state legislatures to lock in their monopoly. There are 48 states across America today that still have state franchise laws prohibiting manufacturers from selling their own cars. These are laws which dealerships put in place. If I was alive in the 1930s, I would have argued that any dealership shouldn't have existed in the first place, and now that they do, the laws have to change because some family threw their life savings into a business idea that didn't work out. All they are is middlemen, and they're going to complain to the state when the manufacturer wants to sell their own cars by themselves? Dealerships can fuck off. Middleman margins inflate car prices for everyone. The average dealer profit per new car is approximately $6,000, but it's hidden in fees, financing, and add-ons. Shipping cars from factory to dealer to buyer creates 12% more emissions than direct delivery. And dealers order excess cars to hit sales quotas, leading to 3.5 million unsold vehicles rotting on lots in 2023. What bothers me the most is how it's the dealerships themselves lobbying against manufacturer selling. Carvana's vending machines and 7-day return policy threaten dealerships so much they petition for laws blocking no-haggle competitors. So why is haggling allowed at all? I'm truly starting to believe our society isn't broken. It's working exactly how it's intended to. Haggling is lobbied for and allowed because from the salesperson's shoes, the average person is unaware of the real prices of cars and are susceptible to top-tier haggling. And even if somebody does actually know the car prices, the salesperson still holds the power in deciding what price to end on. Theoretically, the salesman should offer the customer expert guidance, but does it work this way practically? Absolutely not. Is your salesman looking to add any and all fees to the price of your car? Absolutely. Now let's look at what these fees truly are. So there's the FTC's 2023 CARS rule, making it illegal to charge customers for add-ons that don't actually provide benefit. That being said, let me explain how dealerships pretend to benefit your vehicle. Firstly, your car's extended warranty or any warranties at all are a major source of dealership profits. There are a ton of mandatory add-ons like filling your tires with nitrogen. It is not required. Dealers might even claim that they are required, but they are not. The invoice price you see is not even the dealer's true cost. Automakers give secret holdbacks, which are 2 to 3% of what the car's worth, refunded to the dealer after the sale. And dealers could have bought the car for even less than listed when they buy cars in bulk at a discounted rate. And dealerships take 1 to 2% off financing plans and just pocket the money. So officially, my claim is we don't need dealerships at all, and manufacturers should be selling their cars directly to the public. And we're going to have to battle two things with this claim. First, we're going to go through every argument NADA's lawyers could possibly make to keep dealerships alive. Number two, and if cars were sold by the manufacturer, what rules and regulations would need to change? With that being said, let's go to court. NADA's primary argument is that they are protecting from manufacturer monopolization, so specific brands can't sell their cars for whatever price they want to. Dealerships having access to multiple lenders means competition between dealers, which only drives prices down. So I would argue we already have a monopolization of dealerships with AutoNation, Penske, Lithia, etc. These big corporations have been slowly and deliberately buying out all of the other small dealerships to eliminate the competition. So there goes that. But if manufacturers were selling new models for specific brands, prices are going to go up because those brands are the only ones selling their new cars. This would only be a problem if manufacturers sold only their cars, something that I don't think is realistic in today's world. Like I said earlier, dealers order excess cars to hit sales quotas, leading to 3.5 million unsold cars rotting on lots in 2023. So to prevent from excess waste and monopolization, it would be necessary for manufacturers also sell recycled cars from all brand along with their own products. So people looking for used cars can get low prices, and people who are buying new cars, the new car keeps its value higher and for longer. But dealerships offer financial plans, something that manufacturers couldn't do. Okay, I don't see how exactly manufacturers couldn't do the same thing, but I would even go as far as to say that that's not even a bad thing. If you do not have the money to buy a new 2025 vehicle, then you cannot get one. It is that simple. Dealerships giving finance plans when customers can't buy new cars is nothing short of investing in an extremely high risk customer that will most likely get their car repoed, or they take the car and you'll never see them again. But dealerships employ 1.2 million people in the US today, creating jobs for a society. Now, most dealership jobs are just low-wage receptionists or whatever, but if manufacturers were to sell, obviously they would have to hire their own sales and marketing team to provide cars to the public, replacing the dealership jobs entirely. Dealerships handle warranties and recalls. And the manufacturer couldn't do that as well? But dealerships offer expert guidance to the customer. Salespeople help buyers navigate complex choices with financing and car selection. Dealerships also comply with ethical standards, following strict guidelines such as TILA, the Truth in Lending Act, which protects customers from inaccurate credit prices, and the Consumer Review Fairness Act, ensuring customers post only honest reviews without penalty. Bro, are we really going to sit here and pretend like the 5 to 6% add-on rate per car from the dealerships is expert guidance? The only expert guidance in practice is price haggling. Finding how to add an extended warranty to your purchase and pretending putting nitrogen on your tires is required is not expert guidance. And these strict ethical guidelines are to prevent salesmen from putting more than 6% add-on to your car, and they would if they could. I mean, I would too. I want to get paid. I'm not necessarily blaming them, but pretending car salesmen are highly ethical individuals is just simply wrong. But dealerships allow for test drives, and according to Cox Automotive, 72% of buyers want to test drive a car before purchasing. This is by far the worst argument I've heard. I see no reason why manufacturers couldn't put something in place to allow for test drives, and most of this I truly think manufacturers could take over easily if the law allowed them to do so. Dealerships are the blockbuster of car sales. Once necessary, now obsolete. Consumers want transparency, convenience, fair pricing, no haggling, and no hidden fees. There is hope for the future though, as Michigan and New York are slowly allowing for direct sales, proving the dealership model of selling cars can die soon. Now, I'm sure some of you were all waiting for me to bring this up, but Tesla sells cars directly from the manufacturer. Hail Elon, Tesla now has 34 states that allow manufacturer selling, and the way Tesla fought the state franchise laws is they have Tesla showrooms where there isn't actually a Tesla for you to buy off the lot. You go in and check out the car and are expected to buy one from their website after you leave the lot. By cutting out dealerships, Tesla avoids 6 to 8% dealer markups on each individual purchase. There's no haggling, prices are set online and in-store, making it easy for consumers to get exactly what they want. This is the car sales design of the future. Hail Elon. Now, even manufacturers themselves are getting mad at the dealerships because remember, they are legally not allowed to sell their own cars. Manufacturers are worried about how dealership markups are affecting their sales and reputation. In the past, entire car models have been wiped from existence because dealers misread demands and slapped on ridiculous price tags. There's a ton of evidence that dealerships are actively harming the public. Dealers are pushing high-risk buyers into loans with something like 15% interest, leading to a 9% default rate in 2023. And according to the National Fair Housing Alliance, if you are a minority and you walk into a car dealership, you are 1.5 times more likely to receive marked up loans even with similar credit scores. Ford in particular has been going after the dealerships and warning them to cut the markups. Ford wants to move to online-only sales for electric vehicles and foster a better way to sell cars. If more manufacturers lobby against the dealerships, we could see the end of dealerships as we know it. And for all it's worth, I see that as a good thing. If you're the average American and don't make just a boatload of money, a car is going to be one of the most expensive consumer products you'll buy in your lifetime. And it's a purchase that's going to keep costing you as long as you own it. And on top of that, this sometimes isn't even a financial purchase. Your car is going to be heavily tied to your identity and self-worth. I could even guess your political influence off of what car you have. Ultimately, it's a status symbol to own your vehicle, and it's likely you want yours to represent you. You need a good-looking whip to pick up the hose in. I get it. But if you can't fully pay for the car you want, then you shouldn't buy that car. Getting a new model car should only be a privilege for the people who have earned it by having that amount of money in their pocket right now. Financing a car is a risk to both the consumer and the dealer, and most of the time ends in car repos. So I want to reiterate that if you need to finance a car, get a cheaper car. You're broke. Too bad. Now, regardless of how you buy, most of us will likely be buying a car in our lifetime, so how can we best protect ourselves from getting ripped off at the dealership? First, always know the Kelley Blue Book value of your car to find a fair price. You can use the Kelley Blue Book's website to find what you need. If you're going to finance the car, get a loan from a credit union because the interest rates are going to be a lot lower than dealer financing. Never talk about the monthly payments. The dealers can stretch out your loans to 84 months to lower payments while hiding the total cost. Focus on the out-the-door price only. You always have the power to walk away. So if they do add unnecessary add-ons like nitrogen in your car and expect $1,700 out of your pocket, then just walk away and tell them you don't want the nitrogen. 80% of dealers cave. If not, you'll get a text within 24 hours asking for you to come back. Always skip any free inspections. Pretty much just remove any add-on fee not required by law. If they have a listed price and you ask for that specific price and no add-ons and they still try to add on some stuff, you can report them to the FTC for false advertising. This four-square method is a negotiation technique that has trade-in value, purchase price, down payment, and monthly payment, and the goal is to make the deal seem more manageable by focusing on the monthly payment rather than the total price, but you're actually paying more. Never reveal your full budget. And finally, don't get lowballed if you're trading in. You'll at least get 10 to 20% more on Carvana or even Facebook Marketplace than trading into a dealership. Guys, I truly don't see why we can't just download an app, click a few buttons, and buy a car like you can buy an iPhone. Dealerships are truly just middlemen scamming people by nothing other than skimming money off the top of big purchases. In my last video, I detailed out how you, yes you, can commit fraud from the smallest level to the biggest level. But what if your fraud wasn't a crime? What if it's lobbied for and built into the system we use every day? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Car Dealership. Guys, be sure to stay tuned for some big things on this channel regarding this topic in the works, including holding Zoom meetings with my state legislature via Zoom and tackling these dealerships from an inside perspective. Stay tuned for these big things coming in the future. You won't want to miss out. For today, thanks for watching. Watch my video on fraud if you haven't seen it already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.